Okay, it's still November 23rd, 2011, and so I was what I was going to say. So in my from part one video, which I just recorded, so what do we get at in? And I've studied all religions, but I use religious texts as examples of things that people have said in the past that are timeless. One of the timeless statements in, for instance, the Bible talks about Christ being asked who's the greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And his answer is children. And then he says, it's better for you, if you do harm to a child, it's better for you to tie a millstone to your neck and jump into the sea than to face what this supposed supreme being is going to do to you. And it goes without saying that these statements are like warnings. Warnings for humanity to stop. There was the children, like Gabrielle, who was one of the children who lives in New York now, who saw supposedly the Virgin Mary, the three kids, and the child said that the Virgin said if mankind does not change their ways, they will be destroyed. But destroyed by what? Now, I've done some serious investigations in my quantum physics background, and my background in biology, and my background in chaos physics, my backgrounds in naval architecture, and in saving people's homes from correct building versus wrong building techniques. I've got a very diverse background, and one of the places that I learned something like a researcher putting a puzzle together, and I finally put the right puzzle pieces together. I didn't have it when I was young, but I knew I was on the right track. I kept searching and looking, and I kept putting one more puzzle in the book. And every bit of information that we get, even from the psychics, is bits and pieces of information from throughout the DNA stored information of humanity, which goes back more than 4.4 million years. A recent find before Lucy, the little ape creature in Africa, was Artie. And he goes back 4.4 million years ago. And if you go and study what they found about him, we've got a very, very long evolutionary plateau that we've been on. But the recorded history, which comes down to about 10,000 years, out of all those 10,000 years, you can only account for a little less than 300 years of peace worldwide in bits and pieces. Now, there's a reason for this, and it's all locked into your DNA. One of my videos already mentions it's not wrong to kill because the Bible or the Quran or any religious text or Confucius or Buddha or any of these people say life is sacred and they say the Supreme Being and the Ten Commandments. You know, toss that all in the garbage. Put it to the side. The real reason is science. Genetics is very precious, and you never know, never, no matter who it is, when the right information is going to come from the DNA, and that person's feet, man or woman, is going to be placed on a path of new discoveries, a path of researcher and a true science investigator. They don't know what's happening to them, but it's happening. And you go and you study these people's lives, you go, you know what? Something was directing them. Something was telling them this is the path to go on. And then, of course, inexperienced people would come in their way and they would destroy their path or even destroy them. And when you destroyed that person, you set us back down the ladder of evolution to the bottom. Just like some people, in my previous video, I say you sent people down, wrong thinking people or defective thinking people who are in power, send people to the bottom of the financial ladder. Well, there are worse things than that. Sending a person and the whole human race to the bottom of the invention ladder is where it's at. And that's what you do when you kill people. You never know. Because genetics, like Darwin said, is a process of natural selection. And when you interfere in that process, and I guarantee you someday, some of you are going to know that what I told you is the absolute closest to the truth of any absolute in the universe. That when you kill somebody, you are knocking one more chance or possibility that if they'd been put, that they were on the right path. Even a murderer, a person that's forced into a do or die situation, maybe that situation wouldn't have happened if the right people were in power. And this is where people like us come in. People who claim to be avatars. People who claim to be way ahead of you. People who are misunderstood. There's one program on public channels that Discovery Channel, I believe, had a person who suffered from autism. And here's a perfect example of how diverse the DNA is. Here's a person who doesn't have all of what we have, but they can read a book with each eye. As the book is open, they read, the right eye reads the right page and the left eye reads the left page separately. And they're able to go through the whole book, and then the guy would go over and put the book upside down on his bookshelf, because he had read the whole book. And if I were to take that book down, and they did this, and open it and tell him what's on page 152, he'll read it to you verbatim. What's on page 15? He'll read it to you verbatim. Can any of you do that? Yet this person is autistic. Like in the movie with Dustin Hoffman and Tom Cruise. Excuse me. So, Rain Man, remember? So he could count cards, you know. We all have little bits of intelligence. And if I had more time on YouTube, or a huge seminar that I could hold in a baseball stadium, I could enlighten 50,000 people at one time, and they'd go home completely enlightened by what I have gathered. And you would never, ever be the same. And you wouldn't put up, not even for 1 second, to elect any official unless my guidelines were installed. If you heard all of my story, even the media would sit awestruck. They'd go, and we ignored this man, and we allowed his life to be destroyed by neglecting him, by calling him a nutcase, or by ignoring him. They would be so... And let me tell you, I could hear billions, if not trillions, of I'm sorries, and you could serve billions and trillions of dollars in front of me, and it won't be enough for me. Because I'd turn around and tell you, you know what? What I really want is to wake up tomorrow morning 16 years old. So that would be my best form of revenge on all of you for contributing tax dollars to a country that has hurt me this much. So since we know that's all impossible and I'll never get that, of course I'm going to ask for the sun and moon and the stars. I'm going to ask for complete control over the U.S. military. I'm going to ask for complete control over all the gold in the United States, including Fort Knox. I'm going to ask for every bit of control and authority over every dollar in every bank. And you know why? Because I want to be able to challenge the Bilderberg, the Eastern Unions, and tell them, you are not going to control this country anymore. I control it. I control it. Not you, because I know what I'm talking about. And you know what I would do? I would reach out and search for all the people who have the same kind of value system I do. And I'll be able to tell who they are. Trust me. Because you know where I'll find them? In the poorest neighborhoods. The people who have suffered the most abuse. Those are my people. You aren't the people. The ones who've lived in cushy little neighborhoods and your perfect looking picket fence, because you aren't doing your job. What is your job? To protect the human race from further destruction. And you're not doing that by paying taxes to the wrong people. You're the ones that are wrong, and you're the ones that are making people suffer. You politicians, you governors, like Nostradamus' prediction, he said, There will be a man who will come and take over this country, and he will make high offices low and low offices high. And that's what I will do. But it also says that that person will sit on the most bloodiest throne of all. But see, it's interesting how interpretation comes in. People immediately, because so much violence has been associated with creatures of human nature, they've been associated with so much violence all their lives that they interpret that passage in a violent way. That this person will be an evil person. He will cause tons and tons of deaths. His throne will be covered in blood. Well, let me tell you, my throne is covered in blood. But it isn't blood that I have spilt. Trust me. It's blood that you have spilt by paying those tax dollars. And I will cover my throne and the floor of my throne room, which VoteSmart, by the way, they cut my head off and put only my head on YouTube. Put only my head in their little bull crap place called VoteSmart. No, it's not VoteSmart. You know what their real name is? Vote Idiot, because they're the idiots. I told them, you cannot take my picture and chop it up. And they chopped it up anyway, because they are Bilderberg puppets also. My picture, my publicity release photograph is in my throne room, and it's supposed to be published 100% in its entire picture. The whole picture. Not part of it, not chopped, not cropped. And the reason for that throne room is, what's under my throne? What's all over my floor? Look real carefully at the picture, because all the secrets to what's under that throne and under the floor of my throne room is what I'm going to shock all of humanity with. And that's why my throne is the bloodiest throne of all. You'll never be able to figure it out. But when I do uncover it, and I guarantee you, if I am put in power over this country immediately overnight, and they surrender unconditionally, there are no terms, period, ever. There are no terms. I reinstall whatever constitution or parts of the constitution are necessary to keep a working government going. But you do not have a right to tell me what to do, ever. And when I uncover that throne that I'll make you all bow to, you won't be bowing to me. You'll be bowing to what's underneath that throne that I've got hidden. You'll be bowing to everything that's underneath the rug on that throne room. And none of you are going to know what it is until I tell you, until I release and tell Renee, roll up the carpet and take the cover off the throne. And then you people will feel like the crap you should feel for all the pain and agony you've caused. That's when the Arab nations and all the countries that have been doing the same violence are going to look at this country and go, oh my God, they not only have a leader over there, oh my God, he really wants to embarrass us all and make us feel like the crap that we are. And that's what the real intelligent people that take responsibility will say to themselves when they see what's under that throne room. You people have a lot to learn about life. You shouldn't let people ever hold any office who do damage like what they did to me. You did damage to me, and I guarantee you, if there's any real supreme being in this whole universe, if I get in power, you're all up the creek without a paddle. And you are never, ever going to be able to say, I'm sorry enough for what you did to me, because you stole the young years of my life. You stole 30 years out of my life. The worst mistake you made, you left me alive. You should have killed me. Those children that you've killed all over the country, the U.S. tax dollars have paid through corporations and through citizens who wave that crappy flag. You'll be sorry. Real sorry. Real soon. And you know what? I don't have to lift a finger to do it. Every time a crazy person shoots a congressperson or a president or a governor, anytime they do any violence, I go, bravo. I just heard the other day some guy bit his sheriff's ear off. Good. I said, bravo. When that train wreck happened over there on Amtrak, I said, bravo. You deserve all the violence, because that's all you ever deal out with your crappy, dirty money. And And that's the only reason I took my glasses off, to let you look in my eyes and know that I mean what I say. So, what have we got here? 15 minutes. It's over.